filme de Steven Spielberg, vencedor de 7 Oscars, incluindo melhor filme e direção. História real de um homem que salvou a vida de cerca de 1.300 judeus aprisionados pelo regime nazista durante a Segunda Guerra Mundial. Daqui a pouco, a Lista de Schindler.
Atenção para o top de 5 segundos. Snob, agora muito mais snob.
Olha o diâmetro dessa toalha de papel. Já viu toalha de papel com um diâmetro como esse? Hã? Aposto que nem sabe o que é diâmetro, né? E o colchão de ar que tem aqui no meio, que absorve muito mais, vai me dizer que a sua toalha de papel é assim soft. Hã? Do inglês, macio. Essa é a melhor que existe. Agora quer comprar, compra. Não quer, não compra, né? Tem gente que é snob, tem gente que não é.
Snob. Agora muito mais snob.
A Lista de Schindler, oferecimento Renil, o melhor anti-idade, hidratante e filtro solar num só produto. E Nissin, o verdadeiro miojo.
Eu tenho aqui uma novidade incrível, a primeira TV em cores, colorida. TV Xuxa Cineral, não tem nada igual. É a última moda em TV, você tem que ver. Tem entrada para videogame, TV a cabo, vídeo e tem controle remoto. TV Xuxa Cineral combina com a gente e com a casa da gente. TV Xuxa Cineral, a sua primeira TV colorida. Você não vai ficar sem a sua, né?
Maluco desse, nem o chupa-cabras é tão louco. Mais um lançamento Paradox Music.
A minha vida é sempre corrida. Por isso, na hora de solicitar um cartão, eu escolhi o Credicar, que mais combina com o meu estilo. Assim, faço tudo o que preciso, com tranquilidade e segurança.
Os cartões Credicar estão quilômetros à frente dos outros. Eles são aceitos em milhões de estabelecimentos no mundo inteiro. Onde você for, loja, posto de gasolina, restaurantes e até em viagens, você é sempre bem recebido.
E por falar em viagens, com os cartões Credicar, você também pode parcelar suas passagens aéreas e pacotes turísticos.
A Credicar oferece ainda um atendimento 24 horas.
Central de atendimento Credicar.
Solicite agora o cartão Credicar que mais combina com você e ganhe 50% de desconto no cartão adicional.
Obrigada por chamar a
É fácil e rápido. Em tempo recorde você conquista inúmeras vantagens.
Você pode não ser um piloto, mas com certeza também corre no seu dia a dia. Por isso, não perca mais tempo. Ligue 0800 15 0505. Só a Credicar tem o cartão que mais combina com o seu estilo.
Credicar, muito mais que um cartão.
Ligue já!
In January of 1933, Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany, and so began one of the darkest chapters in modern history. By the time World War II broke out in 1939, mass killings of those the Nazis considered enemies of the state had begun. A special campaign was waged against the Jews. They were forced into ghettos, labor camps, and ultimately death camps. And when it was over, in 1945, 11 million human beings had been exterminated. 6 million were Jewish men, women and children. 2/3 of the European Jewish population. This genocide is known as the Holocaust, or in Hebrew, the Shoah. While we were making the film Schindler's List in Poland, none of us could have predicted the impact it would have on everyone who saw it. But maybe we should have.
How did you survive?
By miracle.
By miracle?
Yes.
Every time Holocaust survivors visited the set and told us about their experiences, we were moved. We realized that each was unique, each was compelling, and each was an important piece of history. The vision to record as many survivor testimonies as possible, and the dream to make them accessible for education, evolved from Steven Spielberg's experiences on making Schindler's List.
There is a saying in Jewish, if you rescue one soul, you rescue the whole. You understand? The whole world. And this is my opinion.
And so, The survivors of the Shoah Visual History Foundation was born to record and preserve tens of thousands of Holocaust survivor testimonies for future generations. For the first time in history, we'll be able to navigate through thousands of hours of eyewitness accounts. Groundbreaking computer technology will enable people of all ages around the world to interact with the past like never before.
You know, what does one do in a new country? You got to learn the language first.
Because most Holocaust survivors are in their 70s and 80s, the foundation is in a race against time. A dedicated team of historians, filmmakers, educators, archivists, and computer technologists have come together to realize this ambitious goal. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning, in the Foundation's Department of Research and Training. The Research Department works tirelessly to locate survivors through community outreach programs and through existing Holocaust organizations. In an effort to build a team of highly qualified interviewers, the research staff conducts comprehensive training sessions in every region of the world.
What we're doing by doing these kinds of interviews is collecting the source, the material that historians use to recreate our past.
What we have learned in preparing the training and from at the beginning of the project, that there are many different types of interviews. There is a therapeutic interview, a journalistic interview, a historical interview, and we have tried to take the best from each of those.
A
woman that I interviewed was sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau, and she was in charge of sorting and stacking clothes that had been brought back from people who were already gassed. She described how she was sorting through the clothes, and she found the little photo album that she had given her one sister before they left home. And she found it in the clothes, and of course that's when she knew that her own sisters had been sent to the gas chambers. And she kept the little photo album in her shoe for the entire time that she was in the camps, and she was able to save it until after the war.
Survivors of the Shoah, may they help you?
The foundation relies heavily on a dedicated corps of volunteers, many of whom are survivors themselves.
Then I pick up the phone, I can hear instantly who's at the other end. I don't mean man, woman. I mean, is it a survivor? Is it a child of a survivor, second generation, third generation sometimes, grandchildren? Is it somebody who wants to volunteer? Somebody who has heard of somebody who's somebody? And then sometimes it comes with, the story starts coming out.
All my family was wiped out. Uncles, cousins, grandparents, all of them, I'm the only one.
On any given day, the Foundation's worldwide regional offices are a hotbed of activity. The regional coordinators are responsible for scheduling and booking the interviewers and camera crews.
On a day-to-day basis, what we're responsible for is coordinating all the interviews. And these people have contacted the 1-800 line. They've either read about our project, their sons and daughters, their grandchildren may have called in, saying that they want their parents and grandparents giving testimony. And we tell them that we want to come to their home, we want to know about their life before, during, and after the war. So the interviewer has to be really somebody that's caring, that's open. There's definitely a matchmaking process.
It should be no surprise that the logistical challenges of international production are tremendous. The production department on a day-to-day basis plans and implements interviews around the clock in over 30 languages.
A year ago, there was just a few people here, and we were just dreaming about this, and it's happening, and I get a chill. I just go, and that to me is amazing, that we are really international, that our outreach is global, and that we're bringing these people together.
The survivors in Russia are very poor. They're very lost. They suffered after the war. They went to camps, to gulags, and to jail because they applied for visas to go to Israel. So it's not very pleasant.
There was a gentleman who called me after his testimony, and he said, I've never spoken of my experiences before. My parents were killed at Auschwitz over 50 years ago, and this allowed me to give them the proper burial that they deserved, because I wasn't there when they died. And he was so gracious, and he was so thankful. And I'm sure that he's able to have better sleep at night now.
Once an interview is completed, the original tapes are immediately shipped to the Los Angeles headquarters, where they're carefully checked in and added to the archive.
It was a life full of nightmares. You couldn't make a living no more. You couldn't go out on the street no more. They dislocated you. They beat you up. It was just impossible. I grew up with every time my father went out or my mother went someplace or something, till they came back. I mean, it was just shiver and shake.
The cataloging department is where history meets technology. Every interview is carefully watched by a team of catalogers, each with extensive historical knowledge. Especially designed computer programs enable them to index the content of every interview. This system will allow people to locate testimony about any specific topic mentioned by the survivors.
The cataloging is done with the most up-to-date library science methods. At the same time, the Library of Congress and some of the traditional methods aren't enough, so we have to develop also Holocaust-specific cataloging and indexing. So it's a kind of a marriage between technology, library science, and history.
Ich hab dich so verliebt, soll's sein auf mir gubei, aha, je Heimat heißt, ich hab dich lieb, I love you so.
Once the testimonies are collected, the foundation will make them accessible for education in a variety of ways. Documentaries, CD-ROM programs, and books. But the most groundbreaking means of distribution and the backbone of the archive will be the online access. Computers such as these will be housed in museums, universities, and Holocaust organizations throughout the world, providing access to the entire archive of testimonies.
This is what we, I guess, could call technically the user interface, but in a way this is what makes this technology, perhaps for the first time, emotional.
Well, it's the faces.
Every face you see is a life.
Yes.
And fortunately, in the case of survivors of the Shoah, these were lives that were spared from the Holocaust and lived to tell us about what happened to them. After they give testimony, 2 to 5 hours of testimony, they bring their families into their homes, and we photograph their families and all the generations that exist today because of their existence. And to really show that, you know, indeed, you know, if you save one life, you do save the world.
And the vacuum that exists because of those that perished.
And all those that perished, you know, who could have survived to have found the cure for cancer, the cure for AIDS? You throw away science, you throw away medicine, you throw away the future. And we're trying to recover some of that, and we're trying to make people learn about why this must never, and even in microcosm, ever happen again. So we move through this this world of faces yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So what we have here is all the names of all the survivors. There will eventually be, in the first 3 years, 50,000 testimonies rescued from the 300,000 survivors that still exist today. But in 10 years' time, there will not be that many survivors. So it's a race against time to get as many survivors to testify on videotape as possible. So with every name, you'll see a picture and a small little summary of who they are. So I can type in a name, Henry Rossmarin.
People who would teach, you know, healing kids. When I was liberated, I was 19 and a half.
And what this essentially is Henry has just given 2 to 5 hours of testimony about what happened to him in the Holocaust. Before the Holocaust, what was his life like? What was the life like during it? Who did he lose? Who survived?
You put 5.5 years back into your life and try to catch up.
Let's talk about his wife. Janet talks about their meeting. Tap on that, and I can press play.
Then I was thinking about him and concentration camp, but I didn't know nothing. If we ever meet together, but the fate done, and we're together.
He plays the harmonica, which is why he survived. This saved his life. When the survivors are speaking, almost like a online living documentary, automatically maps and pictures of themselves and actual photographs, documentary movies of the ghettos they were in, the forced labor camps they were in, will automatically be triggered by what they're saying, and at appropriate moments will scroll on. So you're looking at almost a living document you are watching a living document of one's experience in the Holocaust. I really feel that this needs to be taught in schools. I think the lessons of tolerance, the subject of racial hatred, which encompasses the Holocaust as well as black slavery, what our country did to the Native Americans, these are all stories really are about hatred and intolerance in various forms. And I thought that my next duty and pleasure was to find a way to take all the survivors who had come to me and said, please tell my story. Not to so much cast another actor to play them, but let them be themselves and find a way to document their truth. And then how can we share those experiences with everybody who either wants to learn about them voluntarily or through the school systems in this country and around the world must learn about what happened to them.
You know, it's a life. You know, you get to see someone who's talking about their experiences and what they've been through. It's like it impacts you even more than a book would.
This doesn't just affect one group of people, but affects everybody, we as human beings, and all over the world, not just Americans, not just Europeans, not just Africans, Asians, but you know, we're all in this together.
We take life for granted, and they went through so much, and they appreciate life, and some of us who have everything in life aren't able to appreciate it, and it's, I don't know, it just made me value life more.
Schindler's List was just a little stone which started a big avalanche, which is called Shoah, Testimonies of the Shoah. And I'm definitely sure that nobody can stop it anymore.
People have to learn that there's no difference between other people. Whether it's their color, whether it's their religion, it doesn't matter. We're all the same. And we're all basically here for the same purpose, the same reason. And that's to live, let live, and enjoy life. And it's so easy to fall into this cataclysmic chasm of hate. And I think education is the cure.
As we pass into the 21st century, the world, particularly Europe, will inherit an undigestible piece of history, Shoah, which cannot be understood, may not be forgiven, and must not be forgotten. The only gift to the spirits of the dead and the remaining survivors is to say in all grief and in all anger, this did happen.
Daqui a pouco, a Lista de Schindler. Mas antes, vamos conhecer alguns outros filmes que em breve vão estar em sua casa, na tela de sucessos. Não saia daí.
aqui. Deixa eu dar uma olhada. Se me tocar de novo, eu te mato. Este é apenas o início da sua educação, filho. Eu disse que vou estudar meus números.
Coronel, mais devagar, por favor.
Se segura, Charlie. Acho que temos mais uma marcha aqui. Está sozinho?
Sim, está sozinho.
Que sorriso bonito.
Muito bem, Manny.
Vamos, apareça.
O Sombra, sabe?
Não precisa se apresentar, eu já sei quem você é.
Seu Sombra!
Segure ou vai morrer.
O Sombra não existe.
Está ouvindo a mamãe?
Está ouvindo esse som? Seus olhos. O progresso é ininterrupto. O fim é inevitável. Todos os meninos com ALD morrem geralmente até 2 anos depois do diagnóstico. O problema é que essa doença há 10 anos nem tinha sido identificada. Ainda estamos tentando entender o que ela é.
E eu reivindico o direito de lutar pela vida do meu filho. E médico nenhum, pesquisador nenhum, fundação nenhuma tem o direito de me impedir. Se uma pessoa não pode sequer se mover, não pode ver, não pode falar, como nós podemos saber o que vai na sua alma?
Miyagi sempre treinar você, mas para torneio, não.
Se eu conseguisse vencer esse tal de Larusso no torneio, ia me dar 25% de sociedade na sua academia.
Você sabe varrer de frente?
Não. O senhor sabe varrer?
Sim, claro.
Ao segurar assim, firme. E então, varrer.
Isso não é piada. Eu preciso do seu título. Se não entrar, isso vai afetar o meu futuro financeiro. Assina!
Acha que pode confiar naquele balé?
Caia na real, senhor Larusso.
E o Sr. Miyagi tem fé em você.
Esse cara quer quebrar você, humilhar você, esmagar você no chão.
É uma pena que não goste, mas eu estou com problemas, tá bom? Se não quer ser parte da solução, tudo bem, mas não me critique por isso, tá bom?
Você vai lutar, sim. Vai entrar naquele ringue. O que eu tô fazendo? Primeiro ele sofre, depois sofre mais ainda.
Não.
Sim.
Ah, não. O quê? que isso foi acontecer?
Eu suponho que essa gravidez não foi planejada.
Oi, tempo! Hospital São Jerônimo, por favor.
Respira fundo, respira fundo.
Calma! Meu Deus, me dá um remédio. Ai, obrigada, você é um amor.
Era disso que eu precisava.
Bom, não, tá vindo? Não, me põe de volta, por favor. Minha cabeça.
Então era você que ficava me chutando, não é?
Bom, você que comeu toda aquela comida pesada, né?
E eu vou lá fora e vou dar pra você o melhor pai que existe.
Dubi, 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 dubi. E ela pirou.
Você tá cansado?
Não, cara, não tô cansado, não. Ai! Acabo de pensar em alguém perfeito pra você.
Toca aqui.
Vamos ver quem vai ganhar essa partida.
É isso aí!
Aqui uma novidade incrível, a primeira TV em cores, colorida. TV Xuxa General, não tem nada igual. É a última moda em TV, você tem que ver. Tem entrada para videogame, TV a cabo, vídeo e tem controle remoto. TV Xuxa General, combina com a gente e com a casa da gente. TV Xuxa General, a sua primeira TV colorida. Você não vai ficar sem a sua, né?
Olha o diâmetro dessa toalha de papel. Já viu toalha de papel com um diâmetro como esse? Aposto que nem sabe o que é diâmetro, né? E o colchão de ar que tem aqui no meio, que absorve muito mais, vai me dizer que a sua toalha de papel é assim, soft. Do inglês, macio. Essa é a melhor que existe. Agora, quer comprar, compra. Não quer, não compra, né? Tem gente que é snob, tem gente que não é.
Snob. Agora muito mais snob.
A minha vida é sempre corrida. Por isso, na hora de solicitar um cartão, eu escolhi o Credicar, que mais combina com o meu estilo. Assim, faço tudo o que preciso, com tranquilidade e segurança.
Os cartões Credicar estão quilômetros à frente dos outros. Eles são aceitos em milhões de estabelecimentos no mundo inteiro. Onde você for, loja, posto de gasolina, restaurantes e até em viagens, você é sempre bem recebido.
E por falar em viagens, com os cartões Credicar, você também pode parcelar suas passagens aéreas e pacotes turísticos.
A Credicar oferece ainda um atendimento 24 horas.
Central de atendimento Credicar.
Solicite agora o cartão Credicar que mais combina com você e ganhe 50% de desconto no cartão adicional.
Obrigada por chamar a
É fácil e rápido. Em tempo recorde você conquista inúmeras vantagens.
Você pode não ser um piloto, mas com certeza também corre no seu dia a dia. Por isso, não perca mais tempo. Ligue 0800 15 0505. Só a Credicar tem o cartão que mais combina com o seu estilo.
Credicar, muito mais que um cartão.
Ligue já.
Este documentário vai ser reapresentado na íntegra, logo após a Lista de Schindler. Você vai assistir agora um dos maiores sucessos do cinema dos últimos tempos. Um filme produzido e dirigido por Steven Spielberg, vencedor de 7 Oscars. A Lista de Schindler. Um filme produzido originalmente em preto e branco, exibido com som estéreo. E para ter o áudio original, basta apertar a tecla SAP do seu televisor. O SBT vai apresentar o filme com apenas 2 intervalos comerciais. Pela primeira vez na televisão, a Lista de Schindler. Classificação: 14 anos.
Você vai conhecer a história de Oskar Schindler. Um homem de negócios, membro do partido nazista, mulherengo e especulador, mas que salvou a vida de mais de 1.100 judeus. Primeiro quero que você saiba, especialmente você que é pai ou é mãe, que o filme A Lista de Schindler é extremamente descritivo, mais do que qualquer outro que você já viu. Eu fiz este filme para que esta e as futuras gerações nunca se esqueçam que 6 milhões de judeus foram assassinados durante o Holocausto. A história não pode ser negada. Eu não seria fiel à história nem faria justiça à lembrança das vítimas se não mostrasse toda a violência e todo o sofrimento. Assim, os pais devem julgar se é apropriado para a sua família. Eu, pessoalmente, não acredito ser este um espetáculo para crianças. E agora, a Lista de Schindler.